Hey, this is Mad Movie Mark on the Mad Movie Mark Movie Review. Thank you for joining me as I review the 2023 Jordanian drama Inshallah a Boy.
بدك تستحملي وتطولي بالك وخلصنا.
Hey, that's not fair. This movie was great. It wasn't hard to get through at all. Inshallah a Boy has a 100% fresh rating from the critics on Rotten Tomatoes and a 58% fresh rating from the audience, but if you go read those audience reviews, they were talking about the wrong movie. So this was Jordan's submission for the Best International Film at the 96th Academy Awards, but it did not make the final list. It stars Muna Hawa as Narwhal, who is the main character, and this is just an emotional roller coaster. Mostly anger is what I felt during this movie, but I mean, there were points where I was just in tears because I was so sad for this woman. At the end of the movie, there's joy. It's just, but I mean, the anger and rage I felt through this movie. I don't normally feel anger and rage through a movie unless I hate the movie, but I felt anger and rage in this movie because of how it made me feel, because of how invested I am in this character, of how much I care about Narwhal, how much I want her to succeed, how much I just want her to stick it to her brother-in-law. I was so mad, but that's great because movies are meant to elicit feelings like that. They're supposed to make you feel something. When a movie is successful, this is what it does, and this movie is incredibly successful. I thought it was absolutely amazing. So this is going to be a spoiler-ridden review, so if you want to watch this movie, which I recommend you do, maybe watch it first and then come back to this review if you remember, or if you want to. Now, Narwhal and her husband in the beginning of the movie, they are trying to conceive a child, but Narwhal's husband, a little too tired that night, says he doesn't feel good and he just wants to go to bed. Now, this, of course, there's a window of opportunity here that only lasts a few days to have a child, and she is within that window. So she tries to explain to him, like, the doctor said we have to do this every night if we want to get pregnant, but, you know, he ends up not doing it, from what I can understand. But they did it the night before when the window was open also, but they decided not to do it this night. And the next day, they have a daughter together, and they would like a son. The next day when the daughter wakes up, she goes to like wake up her father, and he is no longer alive. And this sets off a very terrible chain of events for the mom, who has absolutely done nothing but lose her husband, and now she's going to have like the worst probably year of her life ever. So right after this happens, her husband's brother comes a knocking and says, like, you know, we're sorry this happened. If you ever need anything, just let us know. We're family. We're here for you. And she does this in front of her brother, too. So it's her brother and her husband's brother sitting in a room. And he says, but just to let you know, we're going to have the inheritance. We're going to reach out to the inheritance court so we can take care of everything that's owed. He had a truck. Your husband had a truck that he was due the payments. Like, he's back on the payments. If you could just sell that truck and give me the money, because he also owed me money too, that would be great. She says she doesn't want to sell his truck. Like, she doesn't ever give a reason. I think it's just because it's his truck and he just passed away. Like, give the woman some space, right? But she doesn't want to sell the truck, and she tells him that. And he says, okay, no problem. I'll see you in court, basically. So essentially what it seems like is happening in this movie is that in Jordan, if your husband passes away and you don't have a son as an heir, then half of everything you own goes to your husband's brother's family. So they're entitled to half of everything because they are like the male. He's like the predominant male in the family now, I guess. And he is definitely requesting half of everything right now. I want it today. Like, I don't care what you've been through. I need the money, type of thing. Now, of course, like, she is just so upset. She's so emotional. She's so distraught over her husband passing away very suddenly, especially when they were trying to conceive a child, that she really has no room to breathe and no room to think, no room to, like, try to figure things out, figure the future out, figure out finances, decide what she's going to do. He gives her no room to breathe here at all, nothing. He just says, I'm entitled to this, I want this now. So this goes on back and forth for a bit. She has a friend also who she works with, and her friend her friend's husband cheats on her all the time, cheats on his wife, and now her friend is pregnant, and her friend doesn't want the baby because she says, like, I don't want the baby of a guy who's a cheater and a guy who's a terrible person. Now all the women in her life say, well, he's the man, you just got to put up with it, something you got to deal with. Maybe he'll change one day, maybe he won't, but he's your husband, so there's nothing you can do about it. Basically, the way they treat women in this movie, I mean, if this is a reflection of Jordan, it's staggering, like, how badly women are treated here. She decides she's going to go through with it anyway. Now, towards later on in the movie, Narwhal decides that she does not want to lose everything to her brother. She's very much pinned up against the wall here. She has nothing she can do. She sold her bedroom furniture. She has no income. Well, she has income, but not enough income. She doesn't want to sell the truck. Her brother is threatening everything left and right. I'm going to take half your apartment. And he doesn't seem to understand her situation. So she says, like, you're going to take my house where me and my daughter live, and you're fine with that? You're fine with me being on the street? He says, you won't be on the street. You can live with me. What's the big deal? The big deal, the big deal is privacy, not living with people that you absolutely hate, having your own life, having a daughter grow up in her own home away from everyone, away from these people. Like, there's clearly a lot of reasons why she would want to keep her own place, because it's hers, for one. But he just doesn't get it. He's like, you just come live with us. It's not a problem. You're being worried about this. Now, her brother is the same exact way, where he says, like, she says, he's hounding me. He won't let me rest. He won't let me breathe. And her brother says, look, just give him what he wants. I'm tired of hearing about this. Like, sell the truck. Go live with him. Stop bothering me about this. Which is just, oh man, it's so infuriating. So she ends up deciding that she's going to tell the court that she's pregnant and that she hopes it's a boy. That way she has an heir and she doesn't have to give up half of everything. Now, at first she just goes and does a regular pregnancy test. So she knows the person is doing the pregnancy test, but she tries to convince them to, like, lie on the test to say that she is having a child, but the person refuses to do it because it's, like, against the law and it's immoral. So she ends up going to her friend who's pregnant, who doesn't want the child, and she says, look, can you take a pregnancy test for me? I just need to come back positive, then everything will be fine. So she does it, it comes back positive, and then, like, the next day, her friend goes with her to get an abortion because she doesn't want the child. Now, we learn after the abortion that that pregnancy test that Narwhal got isn't good enough because it's, like, not an official, like, test by, like, the government doing it or something so that it's legal. So she has to take another test, but now she doesn't have her friend to do it. So she, like, kind of drags it on and just kind of, like, refuses to take the test. And, because she knows that it's going to come back negative because she's not pregnant, because she's had tests before. Now, while this is all going on, his brother, of course, is still hounding her for everything. He won't let her rest. He won't let her sleep. He calls her constantly, goes over to her house. Where's my money? I need half of everything you have. And then there's a point in the movie where he, like, kidnaps her daughter. And this is the point where I'm, like, absolutely in tears because she cannot get a hold of her daughter. He turned off the phone, basically. Won't let her answer the phone. Won't let her come see her daughter. And then he takes her to court because he says he wants custody of the daughter because she's not a fit mother. Which is, oh man, I was just, like, so emotional, so angry, so upset by this. Especially since, like, I have a daughter. I could not imagine someone just taking my daughter away and telling me that I'm unfit. And it's, like, a family member, and that they're just going to keep her. There's, like, nothing she can really do because she's a woman and she has no rights here. But luckily, the judge asks her brother to, like, explain what's going on and why he took the daughter, and he starts explaining it, and she says he didn't even tell me he was taking her. Like, he just took her. Like, she's been gone for 2 days. I haven't been able to see her. I haven't been able to talk to her. And then the brother-in-law's like, I told her brother. Like, her brother knew. She doesn't have to know because her brother knew. Now the judge says, like, Narwhal is the legal guardian. You had no right to take her daughter. Like, give her daughter back, essentially. So, gives the daughter back. Now, this is going to be a big spoiler here. At the end of the movie. I'm at the end of the movie. It's going to be a huge spoiler. It's going to ruin everything. So if you want to watch the movie first, which you should, this is a great movie, I'd recommend watching it first. So after the custody thing happens and she gets her daughter back, the brother-in-law insists that he takes her to go get this test by like an official government person. So she does. She goes and takes the test, and then she leaves right away, but her brother-in-law stays, and her brother's there too. They stay to get the results. She leaves because she knows what the outcome's going to be, and she wants to go get her things in order so that because she's going to be kicked out of her apartment or whatever. And then at the end of the movie, her brother comes in the room and says, well, I guess he can't touch you for 9 months, but you're going to answer all my phone calls when I call you. She's pregnant. At the end of the movie, she's actually pregnant. I guess, like, sometimes it takes a little while for a positive to show up after you become pregnant. Now she's showing positive, and she's pregnant. And, oh, man, what a breath. Oh, what a breath of fresh air. What a satisfying end to this movie. I was so concerned that she was going to lose everything. Her child, she was going to lose her house for nothing because her husband died. That's the only reason she's in this spot. The only reason she's being treated this way, the only reason she's going to lose everything is because she lost her husband. She has to deal with the loss of her husband, and now she has to deal with this jerk, like constantly being a jerk to her. I was so happy. Now I just hope it's a boy. I think that's what inshallah a boy means, is like hope it's a boy. But man, that was the biggest emotional roller coaster. That was the most emotional movie I've seen in a very long time. A part of it is because I have a daughter. We had a miscarriage before we had her, and it's just like all these feelings come up when stuff like this happens. And I'm just so glad that I live in a country where this type of thing wouldn't happen. You know, if I were to pass away, like, because we have a daughter, not a son. So if it was the other way around, like, my in-laws would try to take they would never do this. Well, if the culture was different, maybe they would. But if they tried to take half of everything, you know, it's just so, it's so crazy. It's so hard to come to this realization that there's like a country where the laws are like this, where people are treated like this, like not even people. She's not even treated like a human. She's treated like an object that people can just pass around and use and do what they need to with. It was, and when they took her daughter, man, that was just a turning point. That was such a hard scene to watch. I almost didn't want to finish the movie because I was so worried about like what was going to happen to this daughter. I was so worried that she wasn't going to get her daughter back, and that she was just going to have this absolutely miserable end to her life. And because sometimes movies end that way, it's not always what you want it's not always what you want. But man, and was it Muna Hawa? I'm saying her name wrong, but the girl who played Narwhal, what an acting performance by her. Incredible. Also, the director who directed this movie, I didn't write down his name, but I think this is like his directorial debut. There are so many directorial debuts that are 100% fresh, that are absolutely amazing movies. Crazy. This is such a fantastic movie. Oh man, it's so emotional. It's just, I don't know what to say about it. It's just fantastic. It's just a great movie. Everyone should go see it. It's a 10 out of 10. Like, easy 10 out of 10. I didn't even have to think about this. When I got to the end of this, sometimes like I sit around and I think about like, what was that? Was that an 8.5? Was it a 9? Was it an 8? This movie, as soon as I finished watching it, I said 10 out of 10. Easy. I hope you join me next time when I review a movie called Uproar. I have 11 movies left that are 100% fresh before I do my ranking list. Almost there. I'm hoping to finish this by the end of the year. That's still my goal. I have to do like 3 a week, I think, in order to complete this goal, and I'm just hoping that I can do it. So it's a 10 out of 10 for Inshallah a Boy. And yeah, hope you join me next time for Uproar. Thank you. Have a great day.